Good afternoon. I spent the 36th day completely at work earning money for further movements. Today is the 37th day. I received a pass. Here is my individual personal pass. Now I'm going to the Kuril Islands. Goodbye Sakhalin, but not goodbye Sakhalin region. I'm going to the Kuril Islands through the main air harbor of Sakhalin. This is of course the airport of Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. The airport is old, but a new complex has been built nearby. The square is small. The most important thing is that it is located nearby the city and can be reached by city bus for 22 rubles, generally good. Let's go for inspection. The airport is very small, literally 30 square meters, and international flights operate from it. Well, it's not for locals. We are loaded inside this baby, without the ladder. Well, let's admire Sakhalin from another angle, from a bird's eye view. Fortunately for me, today we took off on schedule and the weather is great. The flight is only about 1 hour. The plane is small and rises to a height of 7,500 meters, and the speed reaches 630 km per hour. Where else would I fly in business class if not with the Aurora? The arrangement of seats, 2+1, wide seats, increased legroom, what could be cooler? The flight is already over. We can see the island, we can see the volcano, we can see Japan. Beautiful, emotions are overflowing. Given the weather, we can say that I also have a sightseeing tour from the air. It's quite funny to see places that I have yet to visit, such as a volcano and a fumarole field. You can see the airport. To land on it, we have to make several circles around the island. However, this is even good. I can see as many places as possible from above. Yuzhno-Kurilsk, the capital of the island. After circling for 10 minutes, we are finally landing. Well, Kunashir, welcome me. Hooray! I am finally on land, on island land. I was able to gently squeeze quietly past all the controls due to the coronavirus. I got to Sakhalin illegally, in fact. Don't you tell anyone about this, but you can tell when I live here. We are waiting for the car to meet adventures. The temperature is +24 and the very fresh wind, which was not enough on Sakhalin. Forward. Here, coming the tourists. Yeah. Driving back and forth. I plan to only hitchhike on the islands, as I've heard that it's cool as hell. Well, let's check it out for ourselves, or rather for me. So far the theory is working and I caught the first car. We are slowly driving on fresh asphalt, and I'm admiring the rich colors of Kunashir. I started my journey through the Kuril Islands on the island of Kunashir. I decided not to reinvent the wheel, but to go in the proven way, to explore the area in one direction. I arrived at the southernmost point, the village of Golovnino. What is there? There are 1.5 streets, a couple of workshops, factories outside the village, as well as a Golovnin volcano. Here it is. Very cool. This evening I decided to take a promenade to the Pacific Ocean. What else to do? You won't go to the main sites. It remains only to go on some small radial stories. I forgot to tell you that when I arrived in Golovnino, the border guards immediately noticed me and invited me to their territory to check documents, get permission and tell stories about bears. I've come to the point. What do we have here? The Pacific Ocean. And also I'm on the Veslovsky Peninsula, because its shape resembles an oar. The length of the peninsula is 8.5 kilometers, but you know, who cares? The main thing is that on this peninsula there is the longest sandy bar on all the Kuril Islands. Not only in Kunashir, but in general everywhere. Isn't that wonderful? And it's doubly wonderful to spend the evening here and see how the sun smoothly goes below the horizon towards the land of the rising sun. Cool, right? Okay, let's take a couple of steps in the ocean. Hooray! The ocean welcomed me. Hello, ocean. Honestly, I wouldn't swim, but locals swim here like fish. It's cold for me. I'm glad that at night the temperature is almost the same as during the day. This is one of the advantages of the ocean. Its influence, its presence here. I forgot to say, the point I was at is the most southeastern point I have ever visited. And also this point is almost the most southeastern in all of Russia. So, from this point I will get from now on and only, well I hope, by land, no planes. I will make my way home to Krasnodar by land, from Kunashir. That's it. The fox is running! Guys, fox. Come on, let's get closer to it. Will she run away from me? She's running towards me. The main thing is not to meet a bear like this. A fox is still okay, but a bear... Good morning, today is the 38th day of the trip. I slept here near the lake in a certain lowland. It was scary at night because some animals hanged around. I made some noise and they ran away. It was terrible. Now it stinks of sulfur. The fact is that sulfur evaporates from the Golovnin volcano, which is located there behind the fog, and the ocean absorbs it all. And when the tide is out, all this sulfur rises, and as a result the smell is unpleasant. Not the most pleasant smell to inhale, but I'm already used to it. Fog or drizzle, I don't know. In general, it's cool. A little over 100 people officially live in the village of Golovnino. But you know, there are some movements here, there is a house of culture, and I got involved in community service today. I have a pedagogical education, and today we will entertain and educate young children. My station is ready, called Geographic. We will educate the children. How are we going to educate them? Various geographical natural floors. Historically, the village was called Amari, which is translated from the Ainu language as spear. In 1946 it was renamed in honor of Vasily Golovnin. Golovnin is an explorer, navigator, conducting an expedition to explore the Far Eastern territories in 1811. He was in Japanese captivity for 2 years. Thanks to the great efforts of diplomacy, he was released and taken to Russia. Good morning. Today is the 39th day of the trip. I am in the village of Dubovoe. I was sheltered by Vova, for which I thank him very much. There is a typhoon in the Kuril Islands today. It seems that they promise a powerful one, but the local guys say it's okay, we have everything under control and everything will be fine. No one expects heavy rain. I have never been in a typhoon, it is interesting to feel what it's like. Today, as always, there are grandiose plans, but we have to postpone them because the weather in the Kuriles is thing that you have to adapt to. It's good that I have spare days. I knew where I was going. Guys, always go to the Kuriles with spare days, because the weather is so-so. Wow, movement! There is movement in the village. It's quite cold outside. I just went to the shop, and here is the place where I'm living. I'm living in the studio. Let's talk about prices. These cookies cost $1.50. There was nothing else for tea. And our unloved instant noodles, 80 cents, which is cheaper than in the trains of the Russian railways. Well, and thanks for that. In short, this is my dinner. The kettle is already boiled. Good morning. Today is the 40th day of the trip. How fast time flies. It was just the first day and already the 40th. Okay, it's not over yet. I think it's about the equator, the middle of the trip. We'll see. Now I'm moving out of the village of Dubovoe where I settled yesterday, waiting out bad weather, typhoons, etc. Today it seems that there will be no rain, and if it does, I hope that it will not interfere with my Napoleonic plans. Today, finally, there will be a very powerful hike in honor of a small anniversary. Today is 40 days, as I said. It takes me 1.5 kilometers to get to the highway, and perhaps I will have to walk another 6 kilometers along the highway, because the traffic here is inactive and 100 people live in the village. Although it's better than in the Khabarovsk region. Here at least there is a population that is moving, but it was bad with that. Okay, we're not talking about the Khabarovsk region now. Let's move. We are starting the route to the caldera of the Golovnin volcano. 7 kilometers, the path is good, I think we will overcome it quickly. Just in case I took a tent with me so that I could use it to fend off. There is a treacherous rain, but I think it will not interfere with us either. Cool. Fresh. Rain, no hot sun. Do you know what I did note for myself? The fact that there are 50 shades of green. And it's very cool. There is lime green, swamp green, bright green, light dark, vinaigrette green. It's cool and interesting in its own way. Eyes rejoice from such an abundance of colors. You know, there is such an expression, mushroom rain. Right now it's on its way. Mushrooms came out like after rain. Small, fresh, just arrived. It's very cool to watch. In general, there is some kind of magic in this forest. It's really nice to be here. This is a mixed forest. There are coniferous trees, in some places even birches come across. It's immediately felt, here it is Russia. Now we are going out into the open space, from which we can see what? We can see the volcano itself, right at our fingertips, volcano Golovnin. But we will not go to the top of the volcano, but to its caldera. There are also a couple of things.
Встречи, я тихо заплачу на твои плечи, но ты снова спрячешь себя под зонтом. Да, я жалею, что я стал дождем. Я превращусь в твой сильный ливень от мысли, что я тебе настолько противен. Но ты в который раз ничего не поймешь. Но смотри, я люблю тебя.
Just now there was some rustle in the bushes. I was frightened. I even took off my tent to brush it off. By the way, Cape Veslovsky is very clearly visible from behind, and why it was called that. And at the same time, the ocean. The views here cannot be rejoiced. I recommend everyone to get to the Kuriles. Look for ways, even if you're a foreigner. be confused and come here, see what is here, because the places here are simply magical. At some point I see a sign where the volcano caldera is drawn and the bay itself, as if telling me, Vlad, why are you going there alone? Don't you go? You know, it won't stop me, leaving the sign behind and moving on. About halfway through, our road begins to go down. First we went up, now we are going down. The ascent, by the way, is small, about 200 meters in total. Now we are going down and dense vegetation has appeared again. And again, it's a little scary, because there are bushes all around and you can hide in all these bushes. Who can hide in these bushes? Of course, Uncle Bear. I hope you don't see this uncle. The forest begins. Beautiful. In the Kuriles, in particular in Kunashir, it's necessary to beware not only of bears, but also of the second thing, toxicodendron. This is a plant whose pollen has a very negative effect on human skin. I don't know what it looks like, so I'm wary of all plants. Never before on my trips, and indeed on any other trips, I've been as dirty as I am now. I'm all white, I came in white clothes and fell, slipped. And my whole right half is dirty, just awful. I was clean, I had washed my clothes yesterday. There is a house further on, I will try to somehow remove the dirt and then I will have to wash and dry. The territory where I am located is the territory of the Kuril Reserve. Here you need a special pass, but you can get it and pay for it at the garden, which is located here. There I dried out a little, I was seated to cocoa. Many thanks to the inspector, he helped me out. You know, now I feel like I'm on an island. This feeling of being on an island is incomparable for me. Again, I feel like I'm in a place that looks like Iceland. Iceland is #1 for me. Despite the fact that in Iceland there are no such thickets, no such vegetation, there is still a feeling of an island, alienation from civilization and untouched original nature. This is the most important thing for me. And I already have great views. And what the cool views? Now I'll tell you. Finally, my torment doesn't end but continues because the rain doesn't stop. I went to the hot lake. Actually, it's not that hot. The upper layer warms up to 17-18 degrees. This layer reaches a depth of 12 meters. And everything below has a constant temperature of 7 to 9 degrees at any time of the year. The lake is acidic. It's great here. The smell is so sulfurous. The water, most importantly, is clear, clean and transparent even in such wet weather. It's very interesting. And now we are inside the volcano. Cool. Another riot of colors. Now it's not autumn, but the very transitional state from summer to autumn, and it's very beautiful. Even the smell of sour alkaline doesn't bother. Oh, by the way, the birds are swimming. It's a mallard. These yellowed stones are nothing but sulfur. It takes a very long time to form. It takes a very long process for these stones to be covered with this color. This canal, dug by the Japanese, comes from another lake called Boiling Lake. And we will visit it now. But first, look here. How the hot and boiling lakes are connected. It's very interesting to observe how the color changes, dramatically without any gradients, from turquoise to blue. It's fun, it's great, it's the bomb! Nothing lasts forever, bad things too. The rain has finally stopped. I've come, Mamma Mia, where have I come? I've come to the boiling lake. The temperature of its water reaches 95 degrees in some places. Let's touch it, I hope I won't get burned. So, it's reading the temperature from 30 to 60, but sometimes 90. Let's hope that it's not 90 here. If it were 90, there would be crazy steam, like probably over there. Well, somewhere around 45, 50, I think. I would swim in such water, but unfortunately, it's not necessary to wet your hands in it, otherwise it will be even worse later. Let's walk along this little beach. Walking on it, of course, is terribly dangerous. I see some traces here, and not only human ones, which means that people have walked here before me and we can go through here ourselves. I love places like this. I will go to Kamchatka in any way. There are a lot of such things there, but not on this trip, unfortunately or fortunately. Damn, it's really cool, guys. Oh, we'll go up there too. The diameter of the caldera is now approximately 4 kilometers and 700 meters. Caldera is a Spanish word and translates as big cauldron. It was formed as a result of the eruption, the emptying of the magma chamber and the failure of the top of the volcano. As a result, a depression arose on the site, at the bottom of which lakes appeared. The diameter of this lake is 235 meters. Let's walk along its banks and see. Here we have all sorts of fumarole fields. Everything smokes here beautiful. Of course, the smell of sulfur is stronger here. Breathing... oh, damn it. Breathing here is okay, I'm used to it. In the center of the lake we see a lot of steam. Why? There is a funnel with a diameter of 16 meters. How was it formed? 1,000 years ago there was a fair explosion. Oh my god, this is the first time I've ever heard such a word. In short, this is an explosion, which is accompanied by the release of ash, steam and all lava. This is how the funnel was formed. Of course, we won't get up there, but we can get closer to the devil's frying pan. Where it is. Here the temperature reaches its limits, 95 degrees. This is a very dangerous place and it's better not to go yourself. The ground is extremely unstable. Also, to whom am I telling this? A few days ago, I myself fell into such a thing when I went to a mud volcano. So, devil's frying pan, 95 degrees, just to keep from falling over. People walk here, I see the footprints. Man, these are my favorite places. I will definitely go to Kamchatka. I need to go there. Oh, here you can warm yourself with warm steam. But then you don't need to freeze even more. For some reason in Iceland I didn't touch such things. Steam comes out of it. It's very interesting. Let's touch. I wonder if it's hot or not. It's hot in here because of the steam. Oh, what is this? Some sulfur. It doesn't smell like sulfur at all. It crumbles in 1 or 2, and everything is ashes. The steam is really hot. If it gets so hot from the steam, then I can imagine what is going on inside. Sushi rolls are loved by many, not all but many, but not everyone will like such rolls, fuma rolls. Ah, bowling bubbling right under my feet. Cool, let's move away from here, otherwise the concentration of gas is high here and it's better not to breathe all this for a long time. Beautiful! I did like such landscapes back in Iceland, so this subject attracts me. Kamchatka, I will definitely be there. The fog has finally come out and now we can make movies like in Hollywood. Special effects are what we need. cool. It's good that chemistry was my weakest subject at school. I barely got a B in the 9th grade. In the end, I will not tell you the composition of all that is happening below, but simply turn the camera and you will enjoy these beautiful views. Also on this eastern dome you can see hot lake, unfortunately only halfway, but the panorama just bomb. We are inside the caldera of the volcano and we are observing such beauty, turquoise water, and behind that slope you can see how enough of marl is smoked and evaporating. At a certain point of the dome you can simultaneously see two lakes, both hot and boiling. If you look to the left, you will see hot. If you look to the right, you will see boiling. Boiling, of course, is a little less. Guys, this is cool. You are walking and your eyes are turned and you don't know where to look, either to the left or to the right, but it's better to look down at your teeth because you can fall in 2 seconds. The main thing is not to fall into this water, because it's boiling. So now I will jump. Oh! Today was certainly one of the brightest days of this trip, which I'm glad about. Despite all the obstacles that were rain, mud, I'm dirty like a pig, I'm happy, I'm glad, and that's great. Places that you like are always very sad to leave, you know. Now's the time to be a little sad. Both sad and happy at the same time. It turns out light sadness. But we need to move on. Our whole life is a movement forward. And even more so travel. Traveling is doubly forward. Even twice as fast forward at triple pace. That's it, guys. So don't get upset, but rejoice. Well, that's what I'm telling myself. There are even more cool places ahead. The trip is not ending. There are still a lot of places to visit. And not on this trip, but on future ones too. The mood is 10 out of 10, no, 15 out of 10. All the difficulties that I encountered to get here, to the island, to Kunashir, and in general to the Kuril Islands are just garbage. Either way, it's worth coming here. I'm very happy to be here. Can't even find the right words to express it. What, do I have a small vocabulary or what? In short, I'm talking too much. I need to go back, dry myself, wash this disgrace and prepare for a new day. Till tomorrow. The main settlement of the island was called Furukamappo, which means place of trade exchange, and bore its name until 1946, when the Soviets renamed it to Yuzhno-Kurilsk. Good for the first day of my trip, and you have a nice watching. I arrived in the capital of the Kunashir island, the urban-type settlement of Yuzhno-Kurilsk. The locals call it Yuka or simply village. Do you understand? There is no city here, it's just a village. Monument to the Russian discoverers of the Kuril Islands. We will return to this later. A very good pedestrian zone here, for which a lot of thanks. In fact, the population of the entire island is just under 8,000 people, and such a center for them is quite good. What are the sights here? There is a square, of course, with grandfather Lenin. No way without him. It seems that in the Sakhalin region monuments to Lenin were erected everywhere, like we are Komsomols, we are Russians, we are not Japanese, we are Russians. I think that's why here at every step Lenin, 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 Lenin. I also found fast food here. I haven't eaten fast food for 40 days. The withdrawal has already begun. No, 38 days. I ate a burger nuggets and it cost $6. Expensive, but I wanted it very much. And if you really want to, then you can. Most of the houses are paneled, they are painted in light colors. On the sides there is also a church. That's all. This concludes our sightseeing tour, but we will visit one separately. I've come to the lighthouse, which is called the Yuzhno-Kurilsk, and of course is located on the cape. And the cape is called in exactly the same way, the Yuzhno-Kurilsk Cape. After all, I've been in Yuzhno-Kurilsk or not? On the island of Kunashir, which, wow, the wind is blowing me away, which belongs to the southern Kuriles, because there are small Kuriles, medium, northern, central and southern. In short, here we meet with the Pacific Ocean, but it's like not very happy to see us, because the wind is blowing very strongly, the waves are powerful. Let's take a better look at the city from the side of the cape. Thank God, now there are no natural troubles, and it can be easily done. By the way, behind me, 60 kilometers in a straight line, there is a neighboring island called Shikotan. If everything goes well, we'll be there with you and you'll be able to take a walk in a week. For some reason, now I have the feeling that I'm not in Russia, but somewhere in northwestern Europe. Only there the Atlantic Ocean and here the Pacific one. In general, these are two opposite oceans, two opposite parts of the world. There is the West, here is the East. There is Europe and here is Asia. And just like that, I'm here on the edge of civilization. The nearest more or less large civilization to Sakhalin is 400 kilometers. After all, Sakhalin is also an island, and you also need to get from Sakhalin to the mainland. The feeling of being cut off from the usual way of life is cool. Places where you meet the ocean are fantastic. You feel its power and its certain impregnability. See how cute the horses are grazing. This means that livestock farming works on the island and agriculture can also be supported here. By the way, pay attention. Yuzhno-Kurilsk is located on two, so to speak, different floors, two different pedestals. The fact is that until 1994 everything was below, but there was a very powerful earthquake, as a result of which everything that was below was destroyed. And after 94 they began to build the upper floor. Of course, it can be compared with Liechtenstein, but by the standards of the Kuriles, a very interesting effect is obtained. Good morning, today is the 42nd day of the trip. Today is September 1, the first day of autumn. Now I'm in the south of the island. Let's talk about transport infrastructure. The bus runs 3 times a week, on Monday, Thursday and Saturday, and then at an extremely inconvenient time. Of course, this doesn't suit me, but as a hitchhiker I don't care at all, because I can get around by any car, almost any, just in an instant. We just need to wait for it. Here's the car, let's stop it. Oh, usually they afraid to stop on camera. Russians first learned about this island in the middle of the 17th century. The indigenous population was represented by the Ainu, which translates as hairy. By the end of the 18th century, both Russian and Japanese settlers inhabited Kunashir. The latter called it Kunasirito. In the middle of the 18th century, the Ainu paid yasak. This is such a tax that existed in Russia from the 15th to the 20th century for the peoples of Siberia and the north, but the southern Kuriles are geographically neither one nor the other. The locals told me to get off at the 9th kilometer. This is how they call all the places that are along the highway. So 9 kilometers from Yuzhno-Kurilsk, and here is some cool natural place that we must definitely visit. Just to start, let's find a way to get to the other side. Seems like we need to take off our shoes and walk on this wonderful clear water. I was hoping to pass in shoes, but there is no other way. I took off my sneakers and now I'm walking. The water is cold, but we can cross. And there is no other way. I would like to see what is interesting there, what everyone is talking about. Well, half of the waterway is behind. That's all. There should be a transition there. No way. So, I have already come to the waterfalls. They are so small, they don't even have a name, just waterfalls and 9 kilometers. But that's not the point if they are big or not, noisy or not noisy. The main thing is nature. Just being in nature is always great. The sounds of the forest. It's just nice to go through here, the process itself. To walk on stones and boulders, on cobblestones and roots that stick out of the ground. This is the point. It's cold on the Black Island. I am cold. Black Island, this is how Kunashir is translated. Let's get warm. I'm so cold that I went out to warm myself by the ocean. Not really. I just came in here to get a closer look at a colony of seagulls. There are probably 250 of them here. Wow! So many of them sit in one place and do nothing. Here are the parasites. Decided to climb Cape Sukachev. Why not? The trail was laid out more or less. Walking along the sheer cliff was easier than expected. Of course, you shouldn't go here with children. Beautiful. Let's get to the final point and have a look. It's dangerous. I've decided not to go further. I need to know when to stop. Now I need to stop because I can really break loose and fly down the rocks and break. I'm turning back. Going down is much more difficult. I am going down literally 1 centimeter per minute. At this rate, I will be descending for a very long time. Crap! The views, of course, are cool, but I climbed here in vain. Miraculously went down. This path beckons, saying, "Guys, this path is laid out here, let's go up." No, I won't buy such things anymore, and I won't climb such sheer cliffs. Which side? Here. That's it, Cape Sukachev. Bye. So I wanted to warm up in Chaika, the so-called hot springs which are located 18 kilometers from here. But I spent an hour and a half on the Cape, and not a single car went in that direction. What does we say? You need to go here either in the evening if you're a hitchhiker, maybe someone from the village will go, or you generally need to have your own car. But I have an alternative plan. In the meantime, I'm keeping warm with my walking. We can go a little faster, by the way. Oh, it's different. I'm starting my way to the place to warm up. The path is very narrow and here, you know, it's scary. Moreover, at the entrance it was written that in some places there is a bad trail, and you know, now it's still drizzling and I will be all wet. All bushes, all leaves. Okay, don't go now, right? We must move. And I also have to speak loudly, so that I can be heard everywhere. Just in case. There are no complaints about the trail itself. It was made in very good condition. I also like that there are a lot of signs indicating what kind of local flora is here. For example, the spiky yew. What's this? It's in the red book of the Sakhalin region, a rare species. Did you know it? I didn't know, and already forgot. All sorts of little facts that are interesting to read along the way as you go to the final goal. Oh! Further, you can sit down here. Great, great! This is if you are tired, but I'm not tired. My goal is to get to the point as quickly as possible, because walking along this path through the forest is scary because of the bears. If you think that this is an ordinary trail created by tourists, then you are mistaken. This, who would dub it, is a 100-year-old Japanese road that originally led from the Mendeleev volcano to the Sea of Okhotsk. The road is Japanese, and recruited Chinese and Koreans walked along it, who carried sulfur from this volcano. Oh, here is a crossroads with a bear trail. My first checkpoint is the Stolbovskie thermal springs, or as locals affectionately call them, baths. The place is equipped, it smells of course of sulfur, and you can change clothes there. Let's put them to the test now. Never mind. Maybe I have lost a lot of weight since the last shot where I was topless. Let's find a place where we can warm up well. Because I came here to bask in warm, hot water. Not cold, right? Damn, it's cold everywhere. Not even 40 degrees. Water... I'm so cold. Let's look for the spring of joy. Maybe here? It's good here. I'll sit down. Oh, did it seem to me? Damn, you take one step, it's warm. You take another, it's already cold. How does it work? It's cold. Maybe it's the rain. Here I found the hottest spring. The temperature is plus 44, 45 degrees. It's very comfortable. But don't you forget that you should swim in such waters for no more than 20 minutes. Otherwise you can faint. I had the first round, now the second. It's just great to hang out here. Tourists think so too, right? Everyone likes it, so come swim here, but no more than 20 minutes. Iceland in miniature. Only these bushes remind me that I'm in Russia. There are a few such bushes in Russia. It's impossible to get out of these baths, but I made an effort on myself and still got out. Of course, I was not there for 20 minutes, but much more. There were several rounds, because it's really very cool. As a result, I missed the time to go to the next point. But it's okay, because I can manage my time calmly, because I have a few days left before the ferry leaves. Therefore, slowly, at calm pace, we're exploring the sides of which island? Kunashir. This bamboo is just something, you have to swim right through it. And of course, it hits hard on the legs. I'm in shorts today, so I'm not very comfortable. But my pants are clean. Otherwise, I would have to dry them. Look at the bushes. Of course, not as thick as they were on Sakhalin, but that's okay. Good 44th day. It's interesting. The weather here is very unpredictable and changeable. I was moving out of Yuzhno-Kurilsk half an hour ago, and there was heavy fog. Visibility was literally 20 meters. And now I have arrived at a place that is 12 kilometers from the village. And here's the sun, and the sea of Okhotsk, and a bunch of gulls, and a bunch of dead fish. I don't know who did it. I need to get over here. I'll jump over. Excellent. Gentle sun, a slight breeze. I think these are good components to make this day as interesting, stress-free and fun as possible. It's believed that I came at the right time, because now the tide is low and you can somehow go further along these stones. If there is a tide here, you will not pass, only you will have to swim across. Do you need it? By the way, the low tide today was at 10 o'clock and the high tide will be at 6 p.m. So I need to get back by this time, otherwise I have risked being flooded. You know, everything is fine except one thing. This is the sand in which you fall through, so you can go fast. In addition, you have to make some effort. And this is annoying. Everything is gorgeous. The singing of cicadas on the left, these rocks and cliffs behind me, Japan, 30 kilometers from me on the right. It's wonderful. And in front, the site I came here for. Beautiful. There are two roads to get to my destination. The option I take today along the Sea of Okhotsk and the path I followed yesterday to the baths. As for me, both options are good, but in any case, I recommend everyone to look at the tide chart before going here. Why is it better to come here at low tide? See the rock? Now you can go, but if the tide comes in, you have to make a Herculean effort to climb up with this rope, and if it rains, then you just go crazy. I have never seen anything like this before or haven't paid attention, but look, here the plants grow between the stones and the stones are piled very heavily. Very cool. After 1 hour, 4 kilometers and suffering from loose sand, I finally come to the goal, namely to Cape Stolbchaty. Here it is. Look how wide it's spread out. Cape Stolbchaty is called the hallmark of Kunashir Island. They say that if you haven't been here, you haven't been to Kunashir. I have finally corrected my oversight. You know, it's very beautiful and it reminds me of Iceland again. Let's introduce the term Icelandic beauty. As for me, this place is a real stone city. I really like it. It has its own atmosphere. I want to sit on these stones, think and relax. I would like to tell some more story about this place, about what it consists of, how it was formed, blah blah blah, but who needs it? This is not the point. You just need to come, look, climb some hill and enjoy the gorgeous views. On one side, the cape is covered with clouds. On the second side, Japan is also in the clouds. On the third side, Cape Stolbchaty itself. Jumping like a mountain goat is also a pleasure. The beauty, emotions are indescribable. Here I am experiencing only positive emotions. Just one word: positive. My traveler instinct led me to the trail, and in the end I climbed to the cape, and it offers gorgeous views of the coast. Isn't it great? Stones, rocks, clouds. Just great. Such natural attractions are formed due to the flow of lava. In our case, a powerful lava flow flowed from the Mendeleev volcano. Almost hardened and viscous, the lava almost always became a regular hexagonal shape due to heating from below. Of course, hardened and petrified lava eroded under the influence of the sea, precipitation and winds, which however continues to do to this day. Good morning, today is the 45th day of the trip. I don't even believe it. We are starting another hike to local sites. This time we are going to the Solfatar field of the Mendeleev volcano. By the way, the volcano is active. There are 4 active volcanoes on the island: Mendeleev, Golovnin, where we hang around. The 3rd volcano is Rurui and the 4th is Tятя. All names are maximally Russian. Very interesting. This emphasizes that this is Russia. The Kuriles are Russia, guys. My path again runs through the bread trail, damn it, once again. Through the thickets of bamboo too, damn it. Already bored. You know, I understand the soldiers who gave me right now. Well, what else can I do? If you want to see beautiful places, then love to walk through bamboo. Yes, the route will be interesting, I guess. These engineering solutions are very cool. Here or here? Okay, over here. Or not so thick bamboo. It pleases me. Specially protected natural area. Well, of course. Now where? Now we need to open the map. Yeah, the route will be difficult. The slope is steep. Awful. Bamboo is taller than a human. Some specimens reach up to 3 meters in height. You'll have to try really hard, psychologically, to pass it. I didn't expect to receive so many slabs from bamboo. It smells of sulfur and it's like we are there. They are. These hot springs. But where are the fumaroles? Do we really need to go further to find them? Hooray! Finally, from the subtropics, from the southern latitudes, we have left and ended up in Iceland, north. Finally! And here is the Mendeleev volcano. It's a gas volcano, so there are no craters at the top, as the people who were here told me. We are going to the Solfatar field to take a closer look at 2 Solfataras which are called Roaring and Calm. By the way, these are the hottest and steamiest Solfatars in Kunashir, because the steam temperature is above 100 degrees. Before that, we were in the caldera of the Golovnin volcano and the temperature there was 95. Wow! This is not a toy at all. I've almost got burned. It gives off a very powerful steam. The Mendeleev volcano has 2 solfataric fields, northeast and northwest. We are just on the second. Many people may wonder, what is the difference from the fumarole field that we saw in the caldera of the Golovnin volcano? Firstly, temperature. Fumaroles are considered springs with temperatures up to 100 degrees Celsius, and solfataras in general have temperatures from 100 degrees to 300 degrees. Secondly, it's the composition of gases. Solfatars are composed of sulfurous gases. And here is our main character. Just a huge crater, just like a volcano. Well, we are near the volcano. It's even scary to go there. There is some underworld there. Do you know what attracts me here the most? That this thing works around the clock, always. 365 days a year and 366 too when the year is leap. So this thing is 24/7, no days off. Generator of steam, sulfur, and all your chemical things. I wanted to look inside, but you know, I'd rather look at other views. From here, we have a view of a small isthmus, and you can see Lake Lagunная right on the shore of the Sea of Okhotsk. While I'm in Kunashir, I want to say a few words about mobile communications and the internet. Mobile communication works well only in Yuzhno-Kurilsk. In all other places it's so-so, barely 2G. The internet almost doesn't work. Locals use satellite internet. It's very expensive, $3 for 1 gigabyte. Full unlimited internet costs $250. It's very expensive. It seems that by the end of the year they promise to equip the entire island with 4G. I will hope and wish good luck to the locals as well as to the tourists who will come after me and enjoy all the benefits of civilization, a normal road and mobile internet. At 10 p.m. I have a ferry sailing under the name of Igor Farkhudinov. Boarding ends 1 hour before departure. The cabins are clean, but I will do a full review later. Good for the 6th day. Hey, Iturup, a new island which is located in the Kuril Islands. It's much sunnier here than in Kunashir. Literally 250 kilometers from Yuzhno-Kurilsk, and the weather is already different in such a striking way. Well, let's not waste a minute and go to see the local island attractions. I have landed here nearby the hotel. It seems to be a good country holiday home. Very well done. But I've come not for this, but my route starts here. I'll go to look at the natural sights. Let's go! I really like the angle. Steep cliffs, rich colors. I really like, for example, the colors of these stones that lie below. A marbled shade, closer to pink. Very beautiful. I'm ready to stick around for a long time. As known, Iturup Island, like all the Kuril Islands, is of volcanic origin. Behind me is the main volcano. This is Bogdan Khmelnytsky. Of course, where there are volcanoes, there is also lava. And where there is lava, there are lava fields. I have just come to one of these fields, and it's called Yankito. This is all solidified lava of various shapes. Damn, this is interesting. Here are shades of only one color: marble, red, turquoise. Let it be so. For colorblind it's okay, the rest forgive me. I won't go down here. Okay, I'll go, but without the camera.
Iturup is the largest island among all the Kuriles. From the Ani language, Etarop is translated as jellyfish, and in Japanese it sounds like Etarofu. Iturup is rich in volcanoes. There are 20 volcanoes per 3,000 square kilometers, but it's not rich in people. 6,000 people officially live on the entire island.
I have not much money, but I want to eat. As a result, I took mashed potatoes for myself, went into a cafe, asked for boiling water, they poured in, so I will eat in 2 minutes. Now I have tea and cookies.
Fortunately, I have them with me, but the cookies are somehow insipid in taste. I bought them in Kunashir. Not enough salt or sugar, but okay. For some reason, I'm very surprised by this footpath. It's tiled. I have not seen pedestrian tiles exactly as much as I'm on the Kuril Islands. By the way, this is the Kuril Islands, 12 pieces, all the main ones. We are somewhere on this. And here is a sign that tells how everything appeared here. There was an international design competition, Iturup style, and this work was done by Roman Sakovich and Evgeny Maglish. Students of the Academy of Arts in Minsk. Even Minsk takes part in the development of the Kuril Islands. Also, 15 meters from here is an observation point with excellent benches, as well as trash cans, which are made in the form of cannons directed towards the Sea of Okhotsk. Let's sit somewhere. No, we'll sit down, not here, it's broken, but we'll sit down here in the middle. Royal landscapes on a fishing net, as well as on a colony of birds. Great, there is still a light breeze blowing from the sea. This is a school. Despite the fact that the capital of the island is represented by a small town, it has all the infrastructure. A school, a hospital, a lot of shops with the right assortment. Well, there are also places to take a walk with children. There is a square in Kurilsk. I have found one square in the city, and you know what? I like it very much for its coziness. For such a large city, Kurilsk is ranked 1111 out of 1150. That's how many cities in Russia. A very cool square here. Just be careful, don't run into bears. There are a lot of bear traces here. Before the Russian pioneers, the Aino also lived here. The largest settlement on Iturup was called Sana, which translates as a large village in the lower reaches of the river. After the end of World War II and the return of the island to the control of the Soviet Union, the name was changed to Kurilsk. Good morning. Today is the 47th day of the trip. I'm leaving my comfortable home. I slept here today. Well, everything was fine at night, and that's good. I set my tent in a quiet place, little off the main street. At night, several people passed by me, but no one disturbed me. I quickly put myself in order, had a little breakfast, and now I'm moving forward. All good things, like bad things, eventually come to an end. So the asphalt is over. Now the dirt road begins. How much dust will be now? I hope that the next attraction more than compensates for everything. I've come to a fish factory. There are a lot of fish here, and it began to prepare for spawning. Hordes of fish, and all want to get against the flow. This is how they work. What to do if there are no cars, but you really want to see the sights? Of course, walk even through the forest, even 20 kilometers. What am I doing? On Kunashir, I was afraid to walk 20 kilometers through the forest, and now I'm not afraid. I hope that some car will drive up behind, stop and say, "Vlad, dude, I know you. Get in the car, I'll take you to the springs." But this is unlikely to happen. It remains to go 70 kilometers, a car drove by but didn't stop. While you're walking through the forest, you can't even listen to music on headphones, because here you need to keep your eyes and ears open, but you can admire the views. Nature, greenery. No longer green, already yellow leaves appear. Autumn is already approaching. To be honest, I have never entered autumn with such relaxation. because September is a new academic year, work again, and on September 4, at most, I try to be at home to start work and study. Now I finished my studies, quit my job, and don't hold anything at all, which is cool. I'm in free swimming. I'm walking and thinking about it. I'm in the Far East, very, very far from home. I have never been so far from home in any countries, neither in Europe nor in Africa, nor in the countries of Central Asia. And now I'm very far from home, and this is a very disturbing feeling. I keep walking, and here such beauty opens. On the left is the Buransky volcano, and on the right is something of a regular triangular shape. The Russian history of Iturup begins in the 18th century, when by order of the state organized expeditions of Nikolai Khvostov, Ivan Kazyrevsky, Martin Spanberg began to visit the island. The history of Kunashir in Iturup is similar. Here they also try to persuade everyone into Russian citizenship and pay a sak. You remember what it is, right? I walked 8 kilometers and began to pass the pass. And as usual, the car stopped and fully packed picked me up. Thanks to this family, there were 6 children and 3 adults in the car. I was taking 10 kilometers ahead. I have 1.5 km left to go. This is not much. Even the weather has changed, the sun isn't shining here. When I left the city it was 24 degrees. The locals haven't seen rain for 2 weeks, which is a very long time for the island. Well, good luck and a fair wind, and a passing car to me. Or the car is coming, we'll probably live on it. The landscape that I see now is something unusual for me, because I imagine Japan looking at these coniferous trees, and I also imagine Iceland looking at all these geothermal things. It turns out that we have a mixture of Iceland and Japan in Russia. It's crazy how cool it is. It's fantastic. A mixture of West and East, a mixture of Europe and Asia in one place, here in Russia. This is very cool. I'm about to go crazy. I have never seen so many trees like this. Unfortunately, I don't know their names, but there is a whole forest of them. And I think it looks Japanese, and that's probably why the Japanese want this territory back. However, no, I think Russia will never give up the Kuriles, because such places are the most beautiful. Apparently, now I have come to an abandoned geothermal power plant. Let's get closer. This station is called Ocean. It was built, no, not long ago, in the last century. In 2007, in order not to use diesel power plants anymore and save on energy costs. The maximum power of the station is 3.5 megawatts, which is quite enough to supply Kuriles with electricity. From the very beginning, the station was unstable due to low-quality steam. In 2013, a short circuit occurred, as a result of which one power module failed. In November 2015, the station was mothballed. Here you can go deep. Very loud noise. Made the smoke go nut on me. A terrible mixture. And next to it is gorgeous, beautiful nature. I've turned off the main road to where the not very rich tourists go. There is people like me who save money. The fact is that the springs on the Buransky volcano are paid, and prices have been raised this year. For tourists it costs 1,000 rubles, which is $15. For locals, 500, $7.50, and a year ago it cost 300 rubles, $5. Therefore, resourceful people have found nearby sources that are just as good and free. We are heading towards them. We're walking the last meters and going out to all these wonderful things. Wow. There is a Russian proverb that says, if you don't know the ford, don't poke your head into the water. But again, in order to recognize it very ford, you must touch the water. Let's try its temperature. So, are you serious? Swim in this water only after the bath. It's very cool. No, such springs will not work for me. As I understand, there I will boil alive. I don't even want to try. Here I see traces of people. Probably there are better springs here. I don't want to go here either. While I was walking here, I fell. Slipped and fell, thank God, into a cool spring. So where do you swim? Probably over there. I think I have found a more or less warm spring. Wow, it's not warm, it's a great spring. Just like in the bathroom when it's very cold in winter. Generally cool. Excellent. And what great views are around. There are some different minerals on green rocks, and you swim in green water. And it's a new experience. Very cool. And I'm sitting down, and I will relax. Generally excellent. Another charm of these places is that there are people almost never. I'm alone now and I'm doing what I want. Boiling water began to flow. That same feeling when a roasted rooster pecks. Only now it doesn't peck but burns my knee. Generally, it's a pleasure to spend time here. Not always what's advertised is the best. Search and choose what suits you best. Having seen what I wanted and having bathed in thermal springs, I went out onto the road and after walking for 10 minutes caught a cut to Kurilsk. All the same views along the way but in the opposite direction. Is it just me or have there been more yellow leaves this day? And here is Bogdan Khmelnytsky and all its glory. At the entrance to Kuriles there is some kind of monument and something is written in Japanese. I don't know a single word in Japanese or rather not a hieroglyph. I hope that nothing bad is written and we are invited to try the water from the spring. Good morning, today is the 48th day of the trip. This is how we are gradually approaching the round figure of 50 days. Now I'm in the village of Redovo. I arrived here last night, settled down, took off my things. Now I will go to a new attraction which is only 3 kilometers away. I think there will be no problems, let's go. The concentration of names of Russian names on the island of Iturup is simply colossal. Look, there is a volcano Bogdan Khmelnytsky, there is a volcano Ivan the Terrible, there is a volcano Baransky. And now here is a bay called Olya. Olya is a short version of the name Olga. When we sailed here, there was the Catherine Strait. The strait is not named Katya, which is a short version of Catherine, so let's rename it so it doesn't sound so simple. We will call it Olga Bay. I just wanted to praise the road, say how cool it is, and then a puddle appeared, and I have no other way but to go along it. It's a good thing I'm wearing slippers today and not sneakers. Overall, there is a very large layer of dirt, but I hope that I'll wash off. Deep, however, a deep puddle. Well, the road is really good. Previously cars drove along it, but now there are stones at the beginning of the trail and cars can't pass. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Meanwhile, there is a new puddle in front of me and it's definitely bad. Finally the puddles ended and I've gone out into the territory warmed by the sun. Now we are nearby the Pacific Ocean, and this bay is called the Salmon Bay. We have almost come to the main attraction of this route. Only 20 meters left. I shited 20 bricks because the sounds of the forest frightened me, and at some point I thought I heard a bear roar. It was terrible and I had to adjust the route. Anyway, so I've come to the wall of the waterfalls, or they are also called the weeping rocks. I guess this water comes from the Olya river. Cool, there are springs here. Everything is beautifully designed. I see, of course. It says no entry, but when did that stop a real tourist? Never. We are calmly passing by all these prohibitions in order to admire these weeping rocks further. What do we have here? The trail is no longer very good, but here we can get closer to these wonderful waters. We've got to the final waterfall on this wall. And from here a fantastic view of the bay, the ocean and Iturup Island opens up. You can see half of the island. Its length, by the way, is 200 kilometers, and from here you can see more than half. It's just gorgeous. Volcanoes, clouds, greenery, bays. The only annoying thing is the sun. Today again officially 24 degrees Celsius and high humidity. Hot. By the way, the largest waterfall in Russia is located on this island, on Iturup, and it's called Ilya Muromets. Unfortunately, it's not possible to get there by car or by foot. You can only look at it from the water or from the air. Unfortunately, as part of this trip, we will not get there. Maybe sometime in the future, in short, we'll see. On the territory of the dorm of the fish factory there is a dining room where you can eat relatively budget. A large portion of rice costs 70 cents, various meat dishes up to $3. To the next point I need to go 17 kilometers, as the navigator says, and the sign on the road says 14. I don't know who to believe. I hope for the best, but I prepare for the worst. The movement of cars here, of course, is minimal, so I decided to go on foot again. It's not right to stand still and wait for the same car to come for me. It will be faster to go back and forth myself. However, walking is also quite interesting. I like these landscapes. The sounds of seagulls, or rather the cries of seagulls or whining. The mountain, the lake that flows into the ocean. Finally, a little wind is blowing because I'm tired of roasting in the sun. By the way, speaking of the weather, it has been good here for 2 weeks now. And in Kunashir for the last 2 days where I spent there was such thick fog near the airport that the planes that flew in from Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk turned around and flew back. Therefore, take spare time for these islands, so as not to get into a mess. I'm attracted by the fact that there are no traces of people here, only traces of transport. Either people haven't been here for a long time or they never did. The places here are also bearish, but apart from car tracks, I have not found anything. I walked for 1 hour and then a Kamaz appeared out of nowhere and the driver and his assistant stopped in surprise to pick me up. And here I am happy, moving towards the goal. I'm also glad that there is a large puddle along the way and I would have to either look for a detour or take off my shoes and get dirty. This is not the first time on this trip when I move off-road on Kamaz trucks. And here the volcanic black sand drove up, or rather we drove up to it. On our way we come across the black rocks, a basalt columnar structure from the hardened lava of the volcano. Riding on loose sand is getting more and more interesting. We are driving a few more kilometers and in front of me opens up a view of what I've come for. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, I've come for the white rocks. Their height ranges from 40 to 120 meters, and the further south, the higher. The mineral of which these rocks are composed is pumice. It was formed, not surprisingly, during an underwater volcanic eruption. The lava filled with gases ended up on land due to the uplift of the seabed. Pumice is a lightweight material and is easily affected by external influences, such as winds and precipitation. Under the feet and wheels there is a special mixture of black titanium magnetite sand and white quartz sand, which together gives an interesting grayish tint. This sand is easily magnetized to the corresponding objects. Oh, sorry, don't have any magnets with me today. Also, here we are passing the Wind Isthmus. This is the narrowest point of the island, 7 kilometers. We are driving along the coast of the Sea of Okhotsk, and the Pacific coast is parallel to us.
From the intended point, I drove further for another 9 km. There is a river here and fish are teeming here. See how many. The only thing I know is that the bay is called... And how it's called? The Sail Bay. There is a descent waterfall here. Yo. You know what's interesting? The fact that ordinary tourists don't reach here. But I'm not an ordinary tourist, so it was a miracle, of course, but I got here and... The waterfall has no name, but... It's cool. Beautiful.
That's what it means when you go spontaneously and without a guide. The phone was almost dead, there was no power bank with me, and there was no cellular signal either. It turns out that the waterfall has a name, Maiden's Tears, but I learned this much later. Well, at least I recognized the name of the bay right away.
I've climbed a huge sand dune and ended up seeing a very beautiful waterfall. And you know what? It really looks like Icelandic. These basalt rocks are the real Iceland, folks. I meant to say kids. This is the real Iceland here in Russia. This is an indescribable feeling. Nature's very cool, and you know what? This waterfall has no name, so let's call it my name. Let it be waterfall Vladislav Korepanov. So what? There are volcanoes, Ivan the Terrible, for example. Now let there be Vladislav Korepanov's waterfall, or just Vladislav Korepanov. Good afternoon. Today is the 49th day of the trip, almost 50. Today I am leaving Iturup and I will travel on the ferry Igor Farkhudinov. Behind me you can see it. In 15 minutes it will be at the pier. Now there'll be a lot of criticism. It will arrive, we will boot up and start the story. There will be a lot of bad birds. Wait.
Unlike its brothers, the port of Iturup is not located in the capital of the island, but in a neighboring village, which is only 2 kilometers away. During the summer season there are relatively many flights, up to 2 times a week. During the off-season and in winter you can wait up to 2 weeks for transport. It is not uncommon for a ferry to be repaired and the plane remains the only option to get to Sakhalin. Let's add delays due to bad weather. But despite all this, the ferry is considered the most stable transport, albeit slow and rare.
So I'm on a ferry. Let's talk about what is here and how much it costs. Before you get here, you pass the port. Of course, you know what? Port taxes are not included in the ticket, and you need to pay an extra 130 rubles or $2 to travel literally 250 meters on the bus. Disgrace. Passengers are forbidden to be on the port territory and therefore they need to be transported only by bus and only for such big money. For this money you can go from one sailorman to another, but here only through the port on the dead path, and behind is Bogdan Khmelnytsky volcano. The speed of the ferry is low. I don't know if we are going with the flow or against the flow, but 16-17 kilometers per hour is very little for such a long distance road. After all, we are not on an excursion, but we can see the island, albeit from a distance.
Good morning, the 50th day of the trip, the anniversary. I live to see this day. We are on a ferry. Igor, Farkhudinov, where should we be? The ferry is a passenger freight ferry and cargo is being unloaded now. Because of this, we stand for 4-5 hours on each island, and travel time increases very much. Plus, the speed is 16 kilometers per hour, and the result is really slowly. Hooray! Finally we can see Shikotan or Sikatan in Japanese. It translates as large settlement. Among all the Kuril Islands, the population here is minimal, but on the lesser Kuril Islands, the maximum, because Shikotan is the only inhabited island. Yes, the population here is about 3,000 people. We have already talked about Spanberg, but this island was named after him in the 20th century, and it was also called Figured because of the rugged coastline. And the city Golovnin called it Shikotan. Here's another bonus title for you, the 20th. As you already understood, the indigenous people here are the Ainu, as in the rest of the Kuril Islands. The Japanese brought the Ainu from all the Kurils here in 1883 for their compact residence, and sent their colonizers to the places inhabited by the Ainu. In the meantime, we are entering Malokurilskaya Bay, which is located in the village of Malokurilsky, which is the capital of the island. We will talk more about the lack of imagination among those who gave Russian names in the Kuriles. But what if I say that the village was also called Shikotan under the Japanese? Shikotan on the island of Shikotan. Okay. After the return of Shikotan under the rule of the Soviets in 1945, the name of the village of Spanbergovo was considered, but apparently they decided to rename everything in the same style. I've arrived on the island of Shikotan and now I'm in its capital, the village of Malokurilsk. To be honest, the people who give names to the capitals of the Kuril Islands simply don't have fantasies. See, Kurilsk, Severokurilsk, Yuzhno-Kurilsk, Malokurilsk. Let's try to do something here. I have 2.5 hours to see the sights, the village and maybe hit the road somewhere. There is no asphalt on the island, but there is a monument to sea workers, which by the way are not in very good condition. You know, Shikotan is perceived in a completely different way, unlike other Kuril Islands where I visited before. Subjectively, in my opinion, the vegetation here is different. A slightly different latitude, a slightly different location in the ocean, that's all, different vegetation here, as for me. To prevent the enemy from entering, there are intercoms in the entrances. Guys, I definitely didn't expect to see this on Shikotan, because the island itself is generally sparsely populated. By the way, more or less concrete slabs lie near the houses. Probably, soon there will be asphalt. The facade of the houses is designed in 2 colors, I would say everywhere. The combination of beige and green, beige and blue, green and beige and blue again, white and blue, yellow and red. So, this city or the village guard doesn't please us with a variety of colors, but it's interesting to look at it all. For me, Shikotan seemed interesting with its relief, it's some kind of toy or something, tiny, compact, and this probably is its highlight. There are even playgrounds in the village. The most surprising thing is that there are children here. That is, the village develops, breeds and multiplies, and this is good. Malokurilsk is the farthest settlement from Moscow. Can you imagine? Kamchatka, Chukotka are closer to Moscow. Another interesting fact, the population of the village here is larger than in the neighboring city on Iturup. I hope this is preparatory work in order to pave the path for pedestrians. Another difference between Shikotan and his brethren is that there are no bears here at all. They didn't get here. Either they were not brought or they themselves didn't swim. So friends, walk, enjoy and don't worry about safety in nature. And this is good. I have never seen so much fog either in the Faroe Islands or in Åland. This is some kind of madness, a very thick fog, which is located in Khromov Bay and nowhere else. Many tourists during stop on Shikotan when the ferry is in the bay. go to Cape End of the world. I decided to do differently and went to another cape, which is called Cape Khromov. We had just been in the bay of the same name, and from here you can see the lighthouse behind me, but who needs it? The main thing is that in front of you is just a huge Sea of Okhotsk. This is beautiful. Everything is covered with fog. Somewhere there is the sun. There are hills and rocks in the distance. Gorgeous. You know, this is the perfect place to watch the sunset. Surely I could see something else on the island, but you know, it's so good to just sit down and think about the trip, about life, enjoy the natural beauty. By the way, you can move freely around the port without any buses, and I left the saved money in a cafe and had a good bite for 140 rubles. Generally excellent. Good afternoon, today is day 51 of the trip. Finally, Sakhalin appeared on the horizon. Directly on the course, I see the Aniva lighthouse. It's very problematic to get to it by land, tourists get only by boat. The lighthouse is 5 kilometers from here. It's windy, it's raining, but this doesn't prevent us from slowly but surely moving towards the goal. Now let's talk about the cons. There is absolutely nothing to do on the ferry. For entertainment there is only a bar and a video salon. The bar at least sometimes works, but I didn't find the video salon in operation. We are not talking about any pools and saunas at all. However, on the shared floor there is a bathroom with a shower. And for this, in fact, many thanks. Of course, I go by the cheapest option in the cheapest cabin, but nevertheless, I want to have a normal mattress and not one that is already utterly squished. It's just awful. There are sockets in the cabin, and for that, thank you very much. Exactly on schedule, our ferry is arriving in Korsakov, a satellite town of Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk. So I have already arrived in Yuzhno-Sakhalinsk, and the last thing I want to say is the price. A ferry between the islands costs 1,240 rubles. If you buy offline on the internet, it's 10% more expensive. From any island to Sakhalin or back costs 3,255 rubles when buying offline. The fare doesn't include anything, not even bed linen. I am silent about any food. On this, we are finishing with the Kuriles and will return to the continent in a few days. Subscribe, like, share and leave some comments. See you!
Сами по себе периоды, при этом не хотите спать в палатке, не хотите перемещаться автостопом, хотите, чтобы вас сопровождали лучшие гиды, переходите по ссылке в описании, я создал курс максимально комфортно по применению.